how can we make British Muslims feel more a part of mainstream British society? Since September 11th and July the 7th, they feel more marginalised and isolated than ever. What role do you believe the Church of England in this scenario?
Certainly, it seems to me that at local level, the Church of England can continue to do what it's already, I think, in many places doing, and do more of it, which is to make sure that it is fully engaged alongside local Muslim communities in regeneration projects. And it can very often be in a position to act as an advocate for other communities. I think one of the advantages the Church of England has in this country is that it can sometimes be, well, let me put it like this, a flag under which other communities can march for practical purposes. Like it or not, that's our historical legacy. We can sometimes provide a way into a wider context. I think the mixture of general advocacy in society and the practical searching out of partners for regeneration locally is one of the ways in which all of that can be kept working well. I'll just give one example from some years ago when I was working elsewhere, when we, as a local Christian church, launched a new program of training in parenting skills. The immediate thought was we now need to open this up on an interfaith basis and work consistently with, for example, young language assistants in the local schools who had access to Muslim families in the region and make sure that they were part of this. Now, it doesn't answer all the questions, and there are issues about the right kind of government policies that arise here, but I think that's part of what the Church of England can do, and I hope we'll carry on doing.
I think that the Church of England, and indeed members of other faith communities, could help in a sense in enlarging the national narrative, which should include Muslims. The narrative, the historical narrative, has not kept pace with the realities of society that we see around us. And it is important that it should be extended such that the presence of Muslims in the society is not just seen as an alien presence. Yes, there are many things wrong that Muslims do, but there are also others who do things wrong. There are many things good they do that indeed others can do as well. And I think if this idea, as the Archbishop was saying earlier, to be able to understand Muslims as the neighbor, I think that really can have very far-reaching consequences, and a narrative which would be inclusive, in which segments of our society are not seen as alien.
How important is it for Christian leaders to understand and engage with the media?
It's crucially important. It's very difficult. We're often up against a narrative, to use Farhan's word, that is unfriendly. And yet it has to be done. What I think for all religious leaders is, and religious spokespersons, is necessary and central here, is, as I said in my remarks earlier, simply to try and remind our society and our general public again and again of two things. One is the religious elements that have been at work in shaping the society we're in, including the intellectual world we're in, the role of religion here and elsewhere in the formation of science, the understanding of certain political and moral notions, and then to demonstrate, secondly, what religious communities actually do now concretely and offer into the society. As I say, that doesn't find a ready audience 9 times out of 10, but if it's true, it's worth saying. Even in the world of contemporary media, if it's true, it's worth saying.
Can I just... I don't have much experience of the national media, but I have a lot of experience of local, and there is, of course, a world of difference between local media and the national media. Local media is extremely friendly, at least this is my own experience in Nottingham, and I really see huge potential there to portray a positive image and over the years, we've been very lucky in Nottingham to use both our print media, our wonderful BBC, and the other fact is that we were very lucky that we have a community radio which we run from our own institute and mosque. So I think at a local level, certainly the potential is really huge. And I sometimes really wonder why we're not actually using that. And there I think the problem with my own community and my own organisations is that we just don't have the resources, we haven't got the experience of fully, even exploiting and using it to its full potential. I know the national media is totally something different from the local one, but I think there's an opportunities for all of us to use that very positively.
Reflecting on the use of cabinet ministers will be advised by young Muslims on issues of ethnic. How important is it that first, young people are brought into the process of social cohesion and into cultural dialogue? And secondly, is there a need for a group of people, young or old, comprised of many faiths, that can advise the government on such issues?
Young people being brought into the processes, absolutely. I think it's crucial, and I think it's one of the great strengths of this forum that it's made that a focus. I've had conversations, as many people around the room will have had, with young believers, Muslim and Christian, who sometimes feel that their leadership doesn't speak for them, and therefore it's quite important that they should have ways of having their voices heard. I do say Muslim and Christian there, you know, I'm part of the problem here. On groups of people of many faiths advising the government, yes, it's again, I think, going back to this question, this is not just a damage limitation exercise to do with community cohesion. It's about the positive way in which people of all faiths can contribute to the public discussion of what is good for us, and therefore it's something which ought to draw in not just Muslims or Christians, but a wide range of young people of religious commitment.
I agree with what has been said. I think it is very important to engage with young people. It is very important that to have the voice of women heard on these issues. All I would say that it should be young people from all faiths or no faith, and it should be women from all faiths and no faith. It is not a good idea to essentialize communities.
Can I just say
very briefly?
I think we need to understand that the Muslim youth are quite a special case in one way, and in fact two ways. One is that there's a very large number in terms of proportion. It's a very young community. And secondly, the Muslim community really hasn't made the provisions. There aren't community facilities and provisions to take care of their needs. I'm not saying that the Christians, in a way, to be honest, have a very good network of youth workers, and the youth ministry is very well developed amongst the Christians, and I use it as a model actually to encourage our mosques to really emulate that. I don't know, Andrew might not agree with that, but it really is it's worth emulating the way that the church has developed its youth ministry, and the Muslims really do need to follow that. And I welcome any initiative from the government to support the Muslims to actually work on that. And of course, the mosques and the Muslim community really does need to work hard to cater for the needs of young people. So any sort of positive discrimination in that sense, I think, is really needed. And I hope it will also encourage and there will be true vying and competition and rivalry, hopefully, in a positive way. You know, I think there is need for that as well, to encourage more, activism amongst the young people in terms of, those who are people of faith, really.